You're watching the How to Play Rock Guitar system on the 10-week RockSTAR learning platform, the world's shortest learning curve to master everything in life that you've ever wanted to do. Here's your instructor, Blair Barnhardt. Let's get started.
Now in this case, I chose to stick to A440 tuning, probably true to the song. I'm resting my thumb on the fourth string. It's actually the sixth string on the guitar, but the fourth string on the bass. So the low E on the bass. I've got my first finger at the fifth fret on the D note, and I'm just doing the two-note forefinger, middle finger, alternate strums here. And notice that every second beat, there's a hard crash onto the snare. So that's the great thing about playing with the two-finger method as opposed to a pick. If you're playing with a pick, sometimes it's difficult to get a differentiation in those two notes. But if you're playing with the fingers, the middle finger and the forefinger will throw in a little differentiation along the way just by default. So here we go, slow motion. As I come down and hit the note, I'm actually pausing the last note that we just played. So if you think about that, I'm going. I hope that makes sense. So I'm actually pausing that note each time I come down and get ready to attack the next note.
I don't need a whole lot of money. I don't need a big I got more than I could ask for.
that was basically an alternating melody between the D and the G, and then I believe there's an A thrown in for a good mix. The entire song right there. So I'm going to play the track on the Chop Shop a little slower for you. Feel free to download the song on iTunes. Again, it's Some Kind of Wonderful, Grand Funk Railroad, GFR. I just put it on here for short. So here I am, I'm plugged into the acoustic amp. That 2-finger technique, if you can use that middle finger and forefinger on the D. You may find it's easier to rest in one place or the other. And let's... Now when I moved up to the low string, I then rested my finger or my thumb onto the pick. It's the pickup itself. So once you're down here, you can always rest your thumb on the thick string, the Edgar string, but once you move up to the actual 4th string note, then you're going to have to find another place to rest your thumb, or play with your thumb, but again, we're in standard tuning. So let's go visit. By the way, I'll play this at 2/3. You can play along with it here. So that was just me moving through the speakers. And then I ultimately took the vocal right out of the mix. Bass was recorded predominantly down the right side. Down to the G. Now, one thing I do want to point out one more time is heavy 2/4 beat. So every second note that you're playing has got a hard snare hit to it. Listen along. Almost sounds like to put some hand clap in there. Hear the snare? Lots of reverb on the snare. So one thing you'll find, when we play our old school music, you're going to hear everything's drenched in reverb, and when we play the new school music, it's going to be recorded what we call dry. So once Nirvana came along and we had the whole West Coast swing there in Seattle, the music went from heavy reverb, saturated everything in the studio in reverb, to a dry sound, a more natural sound. So think about that as you're listening to Jason's drum tracks when you download them. Listen to the tiny bit of reverb that he put in there for you guys. So let's go on and we'll talk about Jackal, When Will It Rain again. And this is a great song for us to study because the Jackal guys, and I'm not sure if Jeff Tomei produced this for them or not, but they did a great job of putting all the elements of the 10-week RockSTAR into one song so we could study it throughout the entire curriculum here. We'll go and pick on some of the leads and some of the octave strums later, but today let's just focus on the driving drum beat and that bass track, okay? So one moment. So there you go. This is When Will It Rain? Jackal, again, right around the corner from us. The studio is like literally, Bob and I could walk over there like right now and say Merry Christmas to Jesse. It's right around the corner here. So great band. They still know how to put a great rock song together, and this is a great demonstration here. So basically it's a D again. Notice that depending on how hard I hit on the bass note itself, it can clip a little bit, it can distort a little bit, you can add a little drive to it. Again, this whole idea of digital recording, you know, think about this if you will. Lenny Kravitz actually puts tape hiss back into his CDs. So you're trying to make this pristine digital recording in Pro Tools, but then to make it sound authentic and real and kind of like old school, Lenny would put the tape hiss back into the record. So then, nothing against Jesse, great singer, but did you notice in the Chop Shop, If it's easier for you to hear the bass or the guitar or the drums for that matter, you can eliminate the vocals by clicking the button 3 times and getting through that series. So I want to point out here that there's a couple different guitar things going on there. One is a chug, one is spikes, one is a little riff there. But the bass, from what I can see, and I haven't studied the song a lot, I just kind of drove into it this morning, but it sounds like the bass is just driving on through. So one more time here, 2/3 speed. I won't play it, so you can play along with it. You notice how the bass drove right on through the little guitar riff there. So that's in D. I think there's a C and a B flat down there, and there's an F thrown in there for good measure too. So practice that at home. Bass basics. If you want to tab these out, that would be great. Okay, so as a bonus for you guys, I forgot about one of my favorite songs here as well. The remake of Born to Be Wild, originally done by Steppenwolf. So let's get you to, you can download this if you want. I'll demonstrate it. To Be Wild. This particular version was done by The Cult, one of my favorite bands, hardest hitting drummer I've ever seen. So this is Born to Be Wild by The Cult. Again, I mean, we're just lucky to be in standard tuning still. We haven't had to tune down for any of these. And it goes a little like this in E. So there you have it. These songs, when we deconstruct them, and we'll talk about this later on when we get into some guitar chords too. So you got the chugging with the guitar, but then when we break into the chorus there with The Cult doing this particular song, you'll hear these open G chords just ringing on out and sustaining all the heck, but the bass is still chugging along the way. And one thing that makes this one a little more awkward for me and probably for you when you're playing it is there's nothing to rest your thumb on. Every now and then you might see a bass with a little piece of mahogany wood or something screwed in the top. That's for the bass players to rest their thumb on as they're doing these notes. So one more time, and we'll fade out here. And when we get back, we're going to talk about tabbing out some of these riffs in the tablature on your bass, if you'd like to. We'll also get you to tab out your basic chords into the chord chart. So make sure you got all those sheets downloaded for homework. And when we get back here, we'll get a little deeper into back to guitar and start getting you strumming some chords that you can do around the campfire. And one thing I want to point out, if you are serious about doing the bass and you want to do a little bonus session here, you could grab that little that little bass run here on your chop shop. You can loop these sections of the 31-second snippet that you've taken from the song. You can loop that 31-second snippet into a shorter 5 or 6 second snippet. So if you just want to learn that little riff, I'll find it and I'll loop it. That third speed here. So anyways, there's your homework. See you next time. 10-week RockSTAR. bass basics.
The 10-week RockSTAR system. You got this. Remember, amateurs practice till they get it right. Professionals rehearse until they can't play it wrong.